Hey friends, have you ever felt like you depend on others too much? Today I'm sharing the best lessons from How to Force Yourself to Take Action, a book that teaches us how to trust our own strength and grow confident in life. Stick with me for a quick review. You might just find the key to your own independence. Welcome to How to Force Yourself to Take Action. In this first chapter, we begin with the one truth that lies at the heart of every success story. Nothing changes until you take action. You may dream for years, plan endlessly, or wait for the perfect moment, but life will only shift when you do something about it. Today we start with the idea that movement, even small movement, has the power to transform your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Imagine standing on the edge of a wide river. On the other side lies the life you want. Your goals, your freedom, your success. The only way to cross is to take the first step into the water. It looks cold, it looks scary, but here is the secret. The river is never as deep as it looks from the shore. The first step changes everything. It sets the story in motion. What would your life look like if you finally took that first step today? Before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Chapter 1. The urge to act. We all have those moments. We look in the mirror and confront a nagging question. Why am I not doing what I know I should be doing? Why do I keep telling myself tomorrow will be different, only to find myself in the exact same spot? This guide aims to help you break that cycle. It is one of the most common struggles people face. We dream big. We talk about goals, we make plans, but when it comes to actually doing the work, we freeze. Taking action sounds simple. You want to lose weight, exercise, and eat better. You want to start a business, create a product, and sell it. You want better grades, study more. But if it were really that simple, the world would be full of fit, wealthy, successful people. The gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it is where most people get stuck. Why does this happen? Part of the reason is that our brains are wired for comfort. Thousands of years ago, comfort meant survival. If you had food, shelter, and safety, there was no need to take unnecessary risks. Sitting by the fire instead of wandering into the dark forest probably kept you alive. But in the modern world, this same instinct holds us back today. Comfort rarely leads to growth. The things that improve your life, learning new skills, exercising, starting a side hustle, speaking up in meetings are often uncomfortable at first. They require effort, energy, and sometimes the risk of failure. So your brain whispers, stay where you are. Do it, later tomorrow will be better. This is why taking action often feels like a battle against yourself. You are fighting the part of your brain that wants safety, ease, and pleasure right now, even if it costs you success, health, and happiness in the long run. But here is the truth. No one ever built a great life by staying comfortable all the time. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. The life you want requires you to act even when you do not feel like it. Even when it is hard, even when you are afraid. So how do you force yourself to take action? When every part of you wants to stay on the couch, scroll on your phone, or wait until tomorrow. The first step is to understand that action rarely starts with motivation. Most people think I need to feel inspired before I begin, but motivation is not the starting point. It is the result. Think about the last time you did not want to exercise, but you made yourself put on your shoes and start moving. 10 minutes later, you felt more energetic. By the end, you were glad you did it. Action came first. Motivation came later. If you wait until you feel like it, you will wait forever. This is why successful people build habits. Instead of relying on willpower habits, remove the daily debate in your mind. You do not wake up and ask, do I feel like brushing my teeth today? You just do it. Imagine if taking steps toward your goals felt that automatic. One powerful trick is to make the first step so small it feels almost too easy. If you want to start reading more, tell yourself you only need to read one page today. If you want to exercise, Commit to just 5 minutes. Your brain resists big changes, but it can handle small ones, and once you start, momentum takes over. Another strategy is to use what some call the 5-second rule. The moment you have an idea, go for a run. Start writing. Make that call countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move before your brain talks you out of it. Action kills hesitation, but the biggest reason people struggle to take action is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of wasting time. Fear is loud before you begin, but it gets quieter once you start moving. The longer you wait, the bigger it grows in your head. People often think courage means not feeling afraid. That is wrong. Courage means acting even while you are afraid. Every successful person you admire felt fear before they began. They just did not let it stop them. Sometimes the best way to fight fear is with curiosity. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What will I learn if I try?" Every action teaches you something, even if it does not lead to immediate success. The more you try, the braver you become. Failure stops feeling like the end of the world, because you realize you can handle it. Another important thing to remember is that discipline beats motivation. Every time. Motivation is like the weather. It changes daily. Some mornings you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other days you want to stay in bed forever. If you only work on the days you feel good, you will never build anything meaningful. Discipline means you do the thing whether you feel like it or not. Think about people in the military. They wake up early, train hard, follow routines. Do you think they always feel excited about it? Of course not. But discipline makes it happen. Discipline builds consistency, and consistency builds results. One way to build discipline is to create systems instead of goals. Goals are about the result. You want to lose 10 pounds, write a book, make more money. Systems are about the process. You exercise 3 times a week. You write for 30 minutes a day. You save $100 every month. When you focus only on the goal, you feel like a failure until you reach it. But when you focus on the system, you succeed every day. You stick to it. The goal takes care of itself, because progress becomes automatic. Environment also plays a huge role in taking action. If your surroundings make bad habits easy and good habits hard, you will struggle no matter how strong your willpower is. For example, if you want to eat healthier but your kitchen is full of junk food, you are fighting an uphill battle. Keep healthy snacks visible. Put your workout clothes where you can see them. Keep your phone in another room while you study or work. Make good habits convenient and bad. Habits inconvenient. Another powerful trick is accountability. When you tell someone your plan, you feel pressure to follow through. It could be a friend, a coach, an online group. Anyone who knows what you promise to do. You can even make a bet with a friend. If you skip your workout, you owe them $20. Suddenly you have a reason to act beyond just feeling like it. But what about the days when you mess up? Because you will. Everyone does. The key is to treat failure like a scientist, not a judge. A judge gives punishment. A scientist looks for information. Instead of saying, "I failed because I'm lazy," say, "That did not work. What can I change next time?" Self-criticism kills motivation. Self-compassion keeps you moving. Talking to yourself like a coach, not a critic, makes it easier to try again tomorrow. Remember, the goal is not perfection, it is progress over time. Small actions compound. Missing one workout or eating one unhealthy meal will not ruin you, but skipping over and over builds a habit of quitting in the same way. Taking one small step today will not change your life instantly, but doing it again and again will transform you. This is why starting matters so much. A tiny action today begins the chain reaction that leads to big results later. Most people wait for the perfect time to begin. But the perfect time never comes. Life will always be messy, busy, and uncertain. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today. Another secret to forcing yourself into action is lowering the pressure of success. Many people do not start because they feel like everything must be perfect right away. They want the perfect workout plan before exercising the perfect business idea, before starting the perfect schedule, before writing a single page. Perfection becomes the enemy of progress. The truth is, you learn by doing, not by planning forever. Your first workout will be awkward. Your first business idea might fail. Your first article might be terrible. That is normal. Action creates clarity. Once you start, you discover what works and what does not. You cannot think your way into success. You have to act your way there. This is why lowering the bar at the beginning works so well. Instead of aiming for perfect aim, done. Instead of trying to run 5 miles, start with 1. Instead of writing a whole book, write 1 page a day. Small wins build confidence, and confidence fuels bigger actions. There is also something powerful about routine. When your day has structure, action becomes part of the rhythm of life. People who succeed often follow simple daily routines that reduce decision-making. Decision fatigue is real. The more choices you face, the more likely you are to choose comfort. By deciding ahead of time, this is when I wake up. This is when I work out. This is when I write. You remove the daily debate in your mind. The routine makes action automatic. Another thing people overlook is energy management. You might have the best plan, the strongest willpower, but if you are exhausted all the time, action feels impossible. Sleep, nutrition and movement are not just for health. They give you the energy to take action on everything else. Trying to build a business while sleeping 5 hours a night is like trying to run a marathon on an empty tank. Rest is not laziness, it is preparation. And then there is the mindset shift from outcome to identity. Instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, say I am a runner. Instead of I want to write a book, say I am a writer. When your actions align with your identity, they feel natural. Every time you take action, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Writing 1 page does not just move you toward finishing a book. It reinforces the identity of being a writer. Skipping junk food is not only about health, it proves to yourself you are someone who cares about your body. Identity-driven action lasts longer because it is not just about achieving one goal. It is about becoming the kind of person who takes action as a habit, not as an exception. Finally, remember this: no one feels like they have it all figured out. Every author you read, every athlete you admire, every entrepreneur you respect, they all had days when they wanted to quit. The difference is, they acted anyway. Action does not erase fear, but it makes you stronger than fear. Action does not remove doubt, but it proves doubt wrong. Action is how you build a life. You are proud of one choice, one step, one day at a time. When you look back years from now, you will not regret the times you tried and failed. You will regret the times you let fear, laziness, or excuses stop you. Life rewards those who move, who risk, who begin even when the path is unclear. So if you are waiting for a sign to start, this is it. Do the thing. Make the call, write the page, take the first step, because nothing changes until you do. Chapter 2: Building the Habit of Action. Taking action once is good. Taking action again and again until it becomes a habit is what changes your life. Anyone can do something one time, but when you repeat it day after day, it becomes part of who you are. Habits shape our lives more than motivation does. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably do it every morning without debating it in your head. You do not need motivation because it is automatic. What if the things you want in life became that automatic? What if exercise, reading, learning, or working on your dream happen without the daily struggle of deciding whether to do it or not? That is the power of habits. The first thing to understand is how habits are formed. A habit has 3 parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger that starts the behavior. It might be a time of day, a location, or a feeling. The routine is the action itself. The reward is what you get after doing it. Maybe a sense of accomplishment, maybe relaxation, maybe a treat. For example, let's say every evening after dinner, you feel stressed. That is the cue. You grab your phone and scroll through social media. That is the routine. You feel distracted from your stress for a while. That is the reward. Do it enough times and now your brain automatically links dinner with scrolling because it expects the reward to build a habit of action. You use the same formula, but you choose better routines. For example, the cue could be finishing dinner, the routine could be going for a 10-minute walk, and the reward could be listening to your favorite music while walking. Over time, your brain starts craving the walk because it expects the music and the feeling of relaxation. One reason people fail at building habits is they start too big. They want to go from 0 exercise to 1 hour a day, from no writing to a whole book in a month. It is like trying to lift 100 pounds when you have never been to the gym. Your brain rebels because the change is too extreme. Want to build a habit of reading? Read 1 page a night. Want to start exercising? Do 5 push-ups. It sounds silly, but the point is not the size of the action. The point is showing up. Once you show up consistently, you naturally start doing more, because it feels easy. Another thing to remember about habits is the power of environment. If you keep ice cream on the kitchen counter, you will eat it. If you keep books on the counter, instead, you might read them. People think willpower is everything, but often the environment wins. Make the right choice easy and the wrong choice hard. For example, if you want to read before bed, instead of scrolling on your phone, leave a book on your pillow in the morning. At night when you come to bed, the book is waiting. Your phone can stay in another room. You make the good habit easy, and the bad habit difficult. Over time, the good habit wins, because it has less friction. Stacking habits also works well. Habit stacking means you attach a new habit to something you already do. For instance, after you brush your teeth in the morning, you immediately write 1 sentence in your journal, because brushing your teeth is already a habit. The new habit of writing gets linked to it and becomes easier to remember. Rewards matter too. Your brain loves rewards because they release a chemical called dopamine. When you finish a task and reward yourself, your brain wants to repeat the behavior to feel that pleasure again. The reward can be small. After writing for 30 minutes, maybe you get a piece of chocolate or a cup of tea you love. The key is to make the action feel satisfying, so you want to return to it. But what about bad habits? We all have them. The secret to breaking bad habits is the opposite of building good ones. Make the bad habit inconvenient, invisible, or unsatisfying. If you want to stop eating junk food, do not keep it in the house. If you want to spend less time on your phone, log out of your apps, so opening them takes longer. The more difficult a bad habit becomes, the less often you do it. Another idea is temptation bundling. This means you pair something you need to do with something you enjoy. For example, you only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising. Your brain starts linking the workout with the pleasure of the podcast, making you want to exercise. More routines help too. When you wake up and do the same things in the same order, your brain uses less energy deciding what to do. Decision fatigue is real. The more choices you face, the more likely you are to choose the easiest option, which is often the lazy one. A routine removes the choice. You wake up, brush your teeth, exercise, shower, eat breakfast. No debate. No. Should I, shouldn't I? It just happened. Some people think routines are boring. They want freedom and spontaneity, but routines create freedom because they save time and energy for the things that really matter. When the basics of life are automatic, you have more space for creativity and adventure. One day, you will notice something amazing. The habit that was so hard at first now feels weird to skip. The first day of running feels impossible. The second week feels tiring. The third month feels normal, and after a year you feel strange. If you do not run, that is when you know the habit is part of your identity. Here is the thing about action and habits. Motivation gets you started, but systems keep you going. People wait for motivation, like it is some magical feeling that appears out of nowhere. They think, I will start when I feel ready. The truth is, you never feel fully ready. Action comes first, and motivation follows. Imagine you want to write a book. If you wait for inspiration every time, you might write 2 pages a month. But if you set a rule like writing 500 words every morning after breakfast, you will have a full draft in months. The system wins over feelings because feelings change, but a system gives structure. Another way to keep habits alive is tracking. When you mark off each day, you complete the habit. You create a visual chain. Your brain does not want to break the chain because it feels like losing progress. Some people use calendars, some use habit tracking apps. But even a simple notebook works. Let's talk about identity again because it matters so much. Habits stick when they become part of who you believe. You are a smoker who tries to quit but still says, I am trying to quit. Smoking will struggle because in his mind he is still a smoker. But someone who says, I do not smoke anymore, begins to see himself as a non-smoker. The habit matches the identity. You want to become the kind of person who takes action, not just someone who forces themselves occasionally. Every time you act, you vote for that identity. Skipping the action does not ruin you, but it does not earn a vote either. The more votes you give the action-taking version of yourself, the stronger that identity grows. Here is something people do not talk about. Enough habits survive failure. Let's say you plan to work out every day, but missed 3 days in a row. Most people quit at this point because they feel like they ruined everything. But the truth is, missing days does not matter if you come back. Success is not perfection. Success is persistence. When you miss a day, the only rule is never miss twice. If you miss Monday, get back on track. Tuesday. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new bad habit. It also helps to have what I call minimum versions of habits. Maybe your normal routine is running 3 miles, but on days when you feel tired, the minimum version is running 1 mile. This keeps the habit alive. Even when you are low on energy, something is always better than nothing, because it keeps the identity of being an action taker intact over time. These small actions compound. One workout does not change your body. One healthy meal does not transform your health, but repeated over months and years, the results become huge. People look at someone successful and think they got there through one big leap. Most of the time it was thousands of small steps done consistently. Action builds habits. Habits build character. Character builds destiny. The chain starts with the smallest link, taking action today, even if it is small, even if it is imperfect. So start with 1 page, 1 push-up, 1 phone call, $1 saved tomorrow. Do it again someday. Soon you will look back and realize you have become the kind of person who takes action without overthinking, without delay, without fear, and that is the kind of person who changes their own life. Chapter 3. Overcoming fear and doubt. Fear stops more people than failure ever will. You want to take action, but a little voice whispers in your head. It says things like, what if you fail? What will people think? What if you are not good enough? That voice feels real, but most of the time it is only a story your mind tells you. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls again and again, yet keeps getting up. The baby does not worry about looking silly. It does not worry about falling tomorrow. It just keeps trying until walking becomes normal. But when we grow older, we start caring too much about mistakes and about what others might say. The truth is, everyone feels fear. The difference between people who act and those who do not is not the absence of fear. It is what they do despite it. Courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is moving forward while afraid. Sometimes fear comes from the unknown. Your brain likes comfort. It likes routine, because routine feels safe. Doing something new feels dangerous, even when it is not public speaking. Starting a business, moving to a new city, Your brain acts like these things are wild animals waiting to attack. The best way to shrink fear is to shine a light on it. Write down what you are afraid of. Be specific, then ask, what is the worst that can happen? Most of the time, the worst thing is not as bad as your imagination makes it. For example, maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, but fear people will laugh. What is the worst case? A few strangers might leave. Mean comments that might hurt for a moment, but then life goes on. Meanwhile, the best case is you build something amazing. Suddenly the risk does not look so big. Action itself kills fear. When you sit and think, fear grows like a shadow at sunset. The longer you wait, the bigger it gets. But when you start moving, the fear shrinks because your brain sees reality instead of imagination. Break big scary actions into small safe steps. If speaking to 100 people scares you, start with speaking to 5 friends, then 10. Each step trains your brain that nothing terrible happens. Slowly, the fear loses its power. Another way to defeat fear is to collect small wins. When you succeed at something small, your brain remembers it. The next time you face a challenge, you have proof that you can handle things. These small victories build confidence like bricks. Building a wall, confidence does not come from thinking positively. It comes from evidence when you take action and survive. When you speak up and people listen. When you try something new, the world does not end. Your mind learns that fear is often lying. Think about learning to ride a bike. At first it feels impossible. You wobble, you fall, you get bruises, but then one day you ride 5 feet without falling. That small win tells your brain, I can do this. The next day you ride 10 feet. Soon you are riding around the whole block. Each success makes the fear smaller, because you now have proof that you can succeed. Sometimes people wait for confidence before they act. They think, once I feel ready, I will do it. But confidence comes after action, not before. The first step is always scary. The second step is a little easier. By the 10th step you start feeling like maybe you belong here. Cousin, while fear says, what if you fail? Doubt says, are you sure you can do this? Doubt whispers that other people are better, smarter, luckier. But doubt is just a thought, not a fact. One way to fight doubt is to remember past successes. Even small ones matter. Maybe you passed a difficult test once, learned a skill, or solved a problem no one else could. Write those moments down. When doubt shows up, read the list. Remind yourself that you have faced challenges before and handle them. Another way is to hang around people who believe in you. Doubt grows in isolation. When you talk to supportive friends or mentors, they see strengths you forget. Sometimes you borrow their belief in you until your own belief grows back. Do not confuse doubt with learning. Though doubt says you cannot do it, learning says you can, but you might need practice first. That is a big difference. You were not born knowing how to drive, cook, or use a computer. You learned any skill looks impossible before it becomes familiar. There is another trick for beating fear and doubt. Focus on the process, not the outcome. People freeze because they keep imagining the result. They think about winning the trophy, getting the promotion, writing the bestseller, but the outcome lives in the future. You cannot control it directly. What you can control is the action you take today. A writer can control how many pages they write, not whether the book becomes famous. The student can control how many hours they study, not the exact grade they will get. When you pour energy into the process, the outcome often takes care of itself. Focusing on the process also takes pressure off your shoulders. You no longer need to be perfect today. You just need to do the next small step. Fear hates small steps, because small steps feel safe. Climbing a whole mountain is scary. Taking one step is not. Sometimes it helps to set a timer for just 5 minutes. Tell yourself, I will work on this for 5 minutes only. Often once you start, you keep going. Because beginning was the hardest part. Action leads to more action. Also, remember that mistakes are not the enemy. They are teachers. Every expert started as a beginner making mistakes. The difference is they did not stop. They learned. If he feared failure, we might still be in the dark. Fear and doubt pretend they protect you, but really they keep you small. They stop you from seeing what you are capable of. When you act anyway, you discover new strength. You realize the scary thing was never as big as it looked. At the end of the day, courage grows like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You do not need to crush all fear before starting. You just need to take the next step with the fear riding along slowly. The voice of fear gets quieter because action drowns it out. So start before you feel ready. Break things into small steps. Collect wins. Learn from mistakes. Lean on supportive people and keep moving. The goal is not to erase fear and doubt forever. The goal is to act even while they whisper in your ear. One day you will look back and see that fear and doubt were only shadows. They looked big because you stood still. When you walked forward, they faded behind you. Chapter 4. Building unstoppable habits. Habits are the invisible hands that shape your life. Most of the things you do each day happen without you thinking much about them. You brush your teeth, check your phone, drink your coffee, tie your shoes. These actions run on autopilot because your brain loves to save energy. It creates habits so you do not have to make 1,000 decisions every day. But here's the secret. The same system that makes bad habits automatic can make good habits automatic too. If you learn how habits work, you can train your brain to help you instead of fight you. That means less willpower, less stress, and more action without feeling like you are dragging yourself every time. A habit starts with a cue, something that tells your brain it is time for the habit. The cue could be a time of day, a place, a feeling, or an action. For example, you see your running shoes by the door and think about jogging, or you feel bored and grab your phone. After the cue comes the routine, the actual action you do. Finally, there is a reward, something that makes your brain happy, so it wants to do the habit again. Next time to build a new habit, make the cue obvious. If you want to drink more water, keep a water bottle on your desk where you see it all the time. If you want to read before bed, put a book on your pillow so you cannot miss it. Start small. Almost laughably small. Want to exercise? Begin with just 2 minutes. Want to write? Start with 1 sentence. People fail because they try to change too much too fast. Your brain resists big changes. Small changes slide under the radar. They feel safe. After a while, your brain accepts the new habit, and you can slowly grow it bigger. Another trick is to tie the new habit to something you already do. This is called habit stacking. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will floss 1 tooth. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 3 sentences in my journal. Linking the new habit to an old one makes it easier to remember. Most people wait for motivation to act, but motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel inspired, most days you do not. Habits remove the need for motivation because the action becomes automatic. Like brushing your teeth, you do not wake up excited to brush, yet you do it because it is a habit to make habits stick. Rewards are important. Your brain likes to repeat actions that feel good. If the habit itself does not feel rewarding at first, find a way to celebrate afterward. Maybe you listen to your favorite song after a workout, or enjoy a nice cup of tea after cleaning the kitchen. The reward tells your brain, this was worth doing, let's do it again. But here's something most people do not realize. The real reward of a habit is not just the pleasure afterward. It is the identity you build. Each time you act, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to be. If you write every day, you become the kind of person who runs. If you exercise regularly, you become the kind of person who takes care of their health. Habits shape identity, and identity shapes future actions. This is why missing one day is not the end of the world. It is the story you tell yourself that matters. If you say, I missed one day, so I have failed, you feel hopeless and quit. But if you say, I am still the kind of person who writes, I just missed one day, you stay on track. Winners are not perfect. They simply do not quit when things go wrong once in a while. Another thing that helps is to design your environment. People think they need superhuman willpower, but the truth is willpower is weak when your surroundings fight against you. If there are cookies on the counter, you will eat them. If there are books on the table, you will read them. So make good habits easy and bad. Habits hard. Put healthy snacks where you see them. Hide the junk food. Place your running shoes by the bed so they stare at you in the morning. If you want to watch less TV, unplug it and put the remote in another room. Humans are lazy by nature. Use that laziness to your advantage. If a bad habit takes too much effort, you will skip it. If a good habit is easy, you will do it. Sometimes people break habits because they feel bored. They do the same thing every day and lose interest. To keep a habit alive, make it fun, gamify it. Track your progress on a calendar. Try to break your own streak. Record small challenges, keep your brain engaged, and remember, habits do not have to be perfect to work. Missing a day or messing up once in a while will not erase your progress. What matters is coming back 2 steps forward, and 1 step back still means you are moving ahead. When you miss a day, get back on track the next day. When you fall off for a week, start again without guilt. Habits are like planting seeds. If one seed does not grow, you plant another. The garden still becomes full over time. It also helps to measure progress in ways you control. Instead of saying, I will lose 10 pounds in 2 months, say I will exercise for 20 minutes 5 times a week. You cannot control the exact number on the scale, but you can control your actions. When you focus on what you can control, you stay motivated because success is in your hands. Some people need accountability to keep habits alive. That might mean joining a class, finding a friend with the same goal, or even posting your progress online when others see what you are doing. You feel a little pressure to keep going. Accountability can turn a private promise into a public one, and that makes it harder to break. But ultimately, the strongest habits come from identity, not pressure. When you say, I am the kind of person who exercises, you do not argue with yourself. Every time, it becomes part of who you are, like brushing your teeth. No one debates brushing their teeth. They just do it because that is what clean people do. Over time, small habits stack up like bricks to build the life you want. The magic is not in one big leap, but steady steps that never stop. So start small, make it obvious. Celebrate the wins, forgive the losses, design your environment, and keep showing up. Soon the habits carry you forward, even on days when you feel tired or unmotivated. That is when you know you have built something unstoppable. Chapter 5. Mastering Self-Discipline. Self-discipline is like the engine of a car. Without it, the car does not move, no matter how beautiful it looks. Dreams, goals, and plans stay stuck on paper until self-discipline turns the key and makes everything go forward. People often think self-discipline means being hard on yourself or living a life with no fun. That is not true. Real self-discipline is simply the skill of doing what matters, even when you do not feel like it. Every person wants to feel good. That is normal. But the problem is when you always choose what feels good now instead of what feels good later. Eating cake feels good. Now eating vegetables feels boring. Of course not. Some days they are tired. Some days the weather is bad. Some days they would rather stay in bed, but they train anyway, because the goal matters more than the feeling. That is self-discipline. Choosing action over excuses. Progress over comfort. The first step to mastering self-discipline is to stop waiting for motivation. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. If you wait until you feel motivated, you will do very little in life. Instead, build routines that happen no matter how you feel. When something becomes part of your routine, it stops being a choice. You argue about it is just what you do, Another secret is to make the right choice easier. People with strong self-discipline are not superhuman. They just design their lives in ways that remove temptation. If you want to eat healthy, do not keep junk food in the house. If you want to write every morning, keep your notebook on the desk before you go to bed. Willpower is limited, so use it wisely. Self-discipline also grows when you start small. Trying to change your whole life overnight is like trying to lift a car on your first day at the gym. Start with tiny promises you can keep. For example, I will read for 5 minutes before bed. I will do 10 push-ups after brushing my teeth. Each small win builds confidence. Each promise you keep tells your brain, I can trust myself. Over time, the promises get bigger, and so does your discipline. Self-discipline is also about learning to be comfortable with discomfort. Most people run away from any feeling of pain, boredom or effort, but growth always hides on the other side of discomfort. When you work out, your muscles burn. When you study for hours, your brain feels tired. When you save money, instead of spending it, you feel like you are missing out. But these small discomforts build the strengths, knowledge, and security you want in life. The trick is to change how you see discomfort. Instead of saying, this is hard, so I hate it, say this is hard, so I am growing. Athletes call this the burn, writers call it writer's block. Students call it studying late into the night. Every dream has its own kind of burn, and self-discipline teaches you to face it instead of escape it. Another way to master self-discipline is to use the power of habits. When you turn actions into habits, you need less willpower each time. It becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth at first. You push yourself to exercise 3 times a week. After a few months, you feel strange if you skip it. Habits remove the mental debate. Should I do this or not? There is no question. It is just what you do. It is also important to control your environment, because willpower is not infinite. Imagine trying to eat healthy while living in a bakery. The smell of fresh bread and cookies would break even the strongest willpower. So change what is around you. Keep your phone in another room while you work. Turn off notifications. Spend time with people who have the habits you want. Discipline grows faster when your environment supports it instead of fighting it. Self-discipline also comes from knowing your why. If your goal is weak, your discipline will be weak too. Saving money because someone told you to will not last. Saving money because you want freedom, travel, or a home for your family will keep you going even when it is hard. A powerful why makes sacrifices feel smaller because the reward feels bigger. Some people think discipline means never resting, but that is wrong. Rest is part of discipline. Your body and mind need breaks to stay strong. Even machines overheat if they run non-stop. Self-discipline is not about pushing until you collapse. It is about balancing effort and recovery so you can keep going for years, not just days. One of the biggest enemies of self-discipline is all or nothing thinking. For example, someone eats healthy for 2 weeks, then has 1 slice of cake at a party and says, I failed, so what is the point? Then they give up completely. But self-discipline is not about being perfect. It is about coming back again and again. Missing 1 workout does not ruin your progress. Quitting. Think of discipline like steering a car. If you take a wrong turn, you do not burn the car and walk home. You turn the wheel back on track. That is how discipline works. You fall, you get up, you fail, you try again. Each return builds more strength than never failing at all because it teaches you resilience. Another secret to mastering discipline is celebrating progress, not perfection. When you notice even small wins, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation. You feel good about the effort, so you want to keep going. Maybe you wrote 1 page today. Maybe you saved $5. Maybe you walked 10 minutes. Instead of running, celebrate it. These small victories add up like drops of water filling a bucket. Some people also find power in public promises. When you tell friends or family about your goal, you feel responsible. You do not want to break your word. Others join online groups where everyone shares progress. This accountability can push you on days when your own willpower feels low. But the highest level of discipline comes when your actions become part of your identity. You are not just someone trying to wake up early. You are an early riser. You are not just someone who writes. Sometimes you are a writer. Identity makes discipline feel natural because it matches who you believe you are. People act in line with their identity, change the identity, and the actions follow up. Over time, self-discipline stops feeling like a fight. It feels like freedom because you are no longer controlled by moods, cravings, or excuses. You choose your actions instead of letting impulses choose for you. That freedom builds confidence because you trust yourself to do what you said you would do. So self-discipline is not punishment. It is the path to the life you want. It begins with small promises, grows through habits, strengthens with environment and identity, survives failure and ends with freedom. When you master self-discipline, you stop waiting for life to change. You take the wheel and drive. Chapter 6. Breaking the cycle of procrastination. Procrastination is like a thief that steals your time while making you believe you will get it all done later. It starts small. You tell yourself, I will begin after one more episode, one more snack, one more scroll through my phone. Hours pass, days pass, sometimes even years pass. The work stays undone, and the dream stays a dream. People think procrastination is laziness, but it is not. Most people who procrastinate are not lazy at all. They're busy all day doing little things while the big things wait. The real cause of procrastination is fear and discomfort. Starting a big task feels scary because you want it to be perfect. You want to avoid mistakes. You feel the weight of how much effort it will take, so your brain chooses something easier right now. Like checking email or watching videos that feel safe. It gives you a quick hit of pleasure while the important work sits untouched. The problem is that procrastination grows stronger every time you listen to it. It is like feeding a wild animal. Feed it once and it comes back bigger. Feed it every day and soon it controls your life. The only way to break the cycle is to stop feeding it. That means starting even when you do not feel ready, even when the work feels too big, even when you are afraid it will not be perfect. One simple trick is the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you only have to work for 5 minutes. Most of the time, starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, you realize it is not as bad as you imagined. The 5 minutes turn into 20, then an hour, then real progress. Another powerful tool is to break big tasks into small steps. Writing a book feels huge. Writing one page feels possible. Cleaning the whole house feels endless. Cleaning one shelf feels easy. Your brain likes small wins. Every finished step gives you momentum for the next. It also helps to create a deadline even when nobody gives you one. Deadlines create pressure, and pressure pushes you to act. Without them, tasks stretch forever. Students know this well. Many wait until the night before the exam to study, not because they enjoy stress, but because the deadline finally forces them to start. Another reason people procrastinate is because the task feels meaningless when you do not see why something matters. Your brain does not feel urgency. That is why connecting every action to a bigger goal is so powerful. If you know this report at work leads to a promotion, or this workout leads to better health, or this study session leads to your dream college, the work stops feeling empty. It becomes part of a story you care about. Some people wait for motivation before starting, but that is backward. Action comes first. Then motivation follows. If you sit around waiting to feel inspired, you may wait forever. The brain likes proof. When you start working, even for a few minutes, you give your brain proof that you can do it. Then motivation wakes up. It says, hey, we are moving now. Let's keep going. You can also use rewards to break procrastination. Tell yourself you can watch your favorite show only after finishing the task, or you can have a treat after writing 500 words. The reward gives your brain a reason to act now instead of later. Another secret weapon is changing your environment. If you try to study in bed, your brain thinks it is time to sleep. If you work in a noisy place, your focus slips away. Find a spot where your brain knows this is where we get things done. For some, it is a desk by the window. For others, a library or cafe environment shapes behavior more than we realize. It also helps to remove distractions before you begin. Put your phone on airplane mode, close extra browser tabs, tell people you need quiet time. Every time you stop to check a message, your brain takes minutes to get back into deep focus. Cutting distractions makes starting easier because you stay in the flow once you begin. One of the biggest myths about procrastination is that you need to feel confident before starting. That is not true. Confidence grows after you take action, not before. Think about learning to swim. You do not wait until you feel like a champion swimmer to get in the pool. You jump in, splash around, and slowly, and your confidence rises each time. Work is the same. Another powerful way to defeat procrastination is to focus on the feeling after finishing, not the discomfort before starting. People avoid work because they imagine the pain of effort. They see the hours of studying, the long run, the hard conversation. Instead, picture the relief and pride when it is done. Imagine the weight off your shoulders, the good grade, the healthy body, the clean house. That positive image pulls you forward when fear tries to hold you back. Sometimes procrastination hides behind fake busyness. You answer emails, clean your desk, watch tutorials, tell yourself you are preparing, but deep inside, you know you are avoiding the real work. The brain loves to trick you with easy tasks because they give the feeling of progress without the challenge. That is why you must ask yourself each day, what is the one thing that will move me forward the most? Then do that. First morning is often the best time to beat procrastination. Your willpower is like a battery. It starts full in the morning and drains through the day as you make decisions. If you wait until evening, the battery is low, so excuses win. Doing the hardest task first gives you a victory before the world can distract you. Some people use what is called temptation bundling. They combine something they love with something they avoid. For example, you only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising, or you drink your best coffee only when working on your side project. Your brain begins to look forward to the whole routine, instead of dreading the hard part. Remember, progress beats perfection. Many people wait for the perfect time, perfect plan, or perfect mood. That day never comes. The best time is almost never comfortable. The best plan is always imperfect. The best mood shows up after you start, not before waiting. Kills dreams more than failure ever will. The final key to breaking procrastination is forgiveness. Beating yourself up for years of delay only adds shame, and shame feeds procrastination. Instead, decide that the past does not control you anymore. Every day is a fresh chance. Every small action today erases a little of yesterday's delay. Soon the chain of new actions grows longer than the chain of excuses. When you break the cycle of procrastination, you gain more than productivity. You gain trust in yourself. You prove that you can act even when it is hard, even when you are scared, even when nobody is forcing you. That trust builds confidence, and confidence creates a life where dreams turn into reality, not just plans. Chapter 7. Building discipline like a muscle. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build like a muscle. People often look at successful athletes, writer or business leaders, and think they have endless willpower. The truth is they built discipline slowly through daily choices, just like muscles grow with daily training. If you skip the gym for months, your muscles weaken. If you skip discipline, your self-control weakens too. The good news is, building discipline does not require giant leaps. It begins with small promises you keep to yourself. When you say you will wake up at 7, and you actually do it, you build trust in yourself. When you promise to write 1 page and finish it, you prove you can count on your own word. Each small win adds another brick to the wall of discipline. One powerful way to build discipline is through routine. Routine removes the need for constant decision-making. Instead of asking, should I work now or later? You already know when you will work because it is part of your daily rhythm. Decisions drain energy, but routines save it. That is why many successful people eat the same breakfast, wear similar clothes, or follow strict morning habits. They save their mental power for the big tasks. Take cold showers, wake up early, exercise even when you do not feel like it. These small challenges train your brain to act instead of complain. Over time, the brain learns we do what needs to be done, whether we feel like it or not. That identity change is powerful. You stop waiting for the mood to strike, because discipline becomes part of who you are. Another secret to discipline is to lower the cost of starting. If you want to run in the morning, keep your shoes by the door. If you want to write, keep your notebook open on the desk. The less friction you have before starting, the less willpower you need. People think discipline is about fighting constant battles, but the smartest people design their environment so the battles are easy to win. Discipline also depends on energy. If you are exhausted, your willpower drops. That is why sleep, food, and exercise matter more than people think. A tired brain wants comfort, not challenge it, wants to scroll on a phone, not study it, wants junk food, not a healthy meal. When you take care of your body, you give discipline the strength to show. Some people think discipline means living a joyless life. They imagine strict rules, no fun, and constant work. That picture is wrong. Real discipline creates freedom, not chains. When you control your habits, you gain time for hobbies, friends, and rest, because you finish work faster. Chaos steals time. Discipline gives it back. A useful trick is to attach discipline to your identity. Instead of saying, I want to run 3 times a week, say, I am a runner. Instead of I want to write daily, say, I am a writer. When your identity changes, your actions follow. A smoker who tries to quit struggles if he still sees himself as a smoker, fighting the habit, but someone who says, I am not a smoker anymore, begins to act differently, because identity shapes behavior. Another helpful idea is accountability. Tell a friend your goal. Join a group where people share progress when others know what you promised. Skipping feels harder because you do not want to disappoint them. That social pressure pushes you to stay consistent, even on hard days. Technology can also help. Habit tracking apps, reminders, and online communities create small nudges that keep you on track. Every time you see a streak of days, you kept your promise. Your brain feels proud. Breaking the streak feels painful, so you keep going. That is why simple calendars with X marks for each successful day work so well. The growing chain motivates you, not to break it. If you work out for a week, rewarding yourself with junk food kills the progress. Instead, choose rewards that do not fight your goal. A new book, a movie night, or time with friends keeps motivation alive without breaking the habit. Chain visualization helps too. Close your eyes and imagine the future you want. See yourself finishing the marathon, holding the diploma, launching the business. Then imagine the daily steps that make it real. Visualization tricks the brain into feeling the reward early, so the hard work feels connected to something meaningful. Discipline grows faster. When you embrace boredom, people quit habits because they get bored. The excitement of the new diet fades. The thrill of the first gym week disappears. Successful people keep going, even when the feeling is gone, because they know results come to those who stay consistent. Showing up on boring days separates amateurs from professionals. It is also important to avoid the all-or-nothing trap. Many quit after one bad day because they think the habit is broken forever. But missing once means nothing. If you come back the next day, progress is not a straight line. Even the best athletes and rider have off days. The difference is they return quickly instead of giving up. Finally, building discipline requires patience. A tree does not grow after one day of watering. Muscles do not appear after one workout. The same with habits. Many people demand results too soon, get frustrated and quit. But if you trust the process and keep acting, results show up quietly at first, then suddenly all at once. When you treat discipline like a muscle, you stop expecting instant strength. You respect the slow growth. You keep showing up, and one day you realize tasks that once felt impossible now feel natural. That is when discipline becomes freedom. Because you no longer fight yourself to do the right thing, it simply becomes who you are. Success often looks big from the outside. People see the Olympic medal, the best-selling book, the huge company, and they think one giant action created it. But behind every big victory, there are hundreds of small wins that no one sees. Small wins are the secret engine of progress. They keep motivation alive, build confidence, and create the momentum that leads to bigger results. When you start any goal, it feels exciting. At first the energy is high, and dreams feel close, but excitement fades, obstacles appear, and progress feels slow. That is where small wins matter most. They remind you that forward motion is happening, even when the mountain looks huge. Small wins are powerful because they release dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is the chemical of motivation. Each time you finish a task, no matter how small, your brain rewards you with a little shot of pleasure. It whispers you, "Did it keep going?" That feeling makes you want to do the next step. Without small wins, the brain feels stuck and motivation dies. Another reason small wins work is because they shrink fear. A giant goal feels scary. Writing a whole book sounds impossible, but writing one page today feels doable. Running a marathon feels overwhelming, but running 1 mile today feels fine. Each small win tells your brain, this is not so scary. After all, over time, the big goal stops feeling impossible because you keep breaking it into pieces you can handle. The small wins also build identity. When you complete even tiny steps every day, you start to see yourself differently. You are no longer someone who only dreams about change. You become someone who takes action. That shift in self-image is powerful because people act according to who they believe they are. Chapter 8. The Power of Small Wins. Success often feels like a mountain standing in front of you. When you look up, the top seems so far away that many people feel like giving up before they even begin. They see others who have already reached the peak. Athletes winning medals, writers, publishing bestsellers, business owners, running companies, and think those people made one huge leap to the top. The truth is always different. No one jumps to success in one big step. Every great achievement grows from a long line of small, almost invisible victories. These tiny steps, these small wins, are the real secret to getting anywhere worth going when you first start working toward a goal. Excitement fills your heart. The first few days feel full of energy. You buy new running shoes for your fitness journey, or open a fresh notebook to write your first book. For a while, that excitement keeps you moving. But then the hard days come. Progress slows down. The results you dreamed of take longer than you thought. That is when many people quit. They think, this is too hard. Maybe I am not good enough. Small wins save you from quitting. They give you proof that something is happening even when the finish line is still far away. Each small win whispers to you, keep going. You are getting closer. That whisper matters more than motivation, because motivation fades, but progress, no matter how small, pushes you forward. The brain loves small wins because each one releases a bit of dopamine, the chemical that makes you feel good and eager to continue. When you finish writing one page or walk for 10 minutes, Your brain says, "That felt good. Let us do it again tomorrow." This reward loop keeps you coming back until the habit becomes part of your life. Without small wins, the brain feels stuck, like nothing is working, and you slowly lose the will to keep trying. Big goals can feel scary because they demand so much. Write a whole book, run 26 miles, lose 50 pounds, start a business. When the goal feels too big, the brain freezes. Fear grows, but small wins shrink that fear. Write just one page today, run for 5 minutes, skip one sugary drink, sell one product. Each small win tells your brain, "See, you can do this over time." The big goal stops looking like a monster because you have already chipped away at it, piece by piece. Another gift of small wins is how they change the way you see yourself. At first, you might think, "I want to be a writer." After a few weeks of writing one page every day, you start thinking, "I am a writer." That change in identity is powerful. People act according to who they believe they are. When you see yourself as a runner, you run. When you see yourself as a healthy person, you eat better. Each small win carves this new identity deeper until action becomes natural. Many people wait for the perfect moment to begin. They want the right plan, the right tools, the right timing, but waiting kills progress. The perfect moment rarely comes. Action creates clarity. Small wins stack up while perfectionists are still waiting. Celebrating small wins matters too. If you only celebrate when the entire book is written, you will feel miserable for months. But if you celebrate each finished page, each chapter, you give yourself reasons to stay excited. This does not mean throwing a party every day. It can be as simple as telling yourself "good job" or crossing a line through today's task on your calendar. That simple act of marking progress builds momentum. Momentum is another secret hidden inside small wins. A single push moves a heavy wheel slowly at first, but with each push it spins faster until it barely needs any effort to keep going. The habit carries you even on days when motivation is missing. Runners run because that is just what they do. Now writers write because skipping a day feels strange. That automatic behavior begins with small repeated action. Sometimes people worry that small steps are too slow. They want results fast. But the truth is, fast attempts often fail because they are too heavy to carry for long. Someone tries to change their entire diet overnight, suffers for a week, then quits. Another person simply switches from soda to water this week, adds vegetables, next week starts cooking at home. The week after, a year later, the second person has transformed their health, while the first person is still stuck at the starting line. Small, steady steps always beat wild sprints, followed by burnout. Psychologists talk about the progress principle, the idea that people stay motivated when they feel they are moving forward, even if the progress is small. That is why video games use levels, points, and badges. Each small victory keeps players hooked. Life works the same way. When you track your small wins, a calendar with X marks an app or a simple journal, you give your brain visible proof of success. That proof becomes fuel to keep going. There is also a magic in stacking small wins across different parts of life. Cleaning one corner of your room leads to cleaning the whole space. Paying one small debt leads to paying off bigger ones. Learning one new skill at work leads to feeling confident enough to learn. Another success spreads. It leaks from one area into another until your entire life feels more under control. Of course, small wins do not mean avoiding big dreams. The dream gives direction. It tells you where to go. But small wins give you the steps to actually get there. A dream without daily action is just a wish. Daily small wins turn the dream into reality, one piece at a time. Another mistake people make is quitting after missing one day. They keep a perfect streak for weeks. Then one bad day comes and they think, "I failed." But one slip does not erase all progress. What matters is returning the next day. Small wins work because they forgive mistakes. You can always start again tomorrow. Over time, small wins change your relationship with challenge. At first, hard tasks feel heavy, but each small success proves you can handle difficulty. Confidence grows. Soon you start seeking bigger challenges because you trust yourself to handle them. That self-trust is one of the greatest gifts. Small wins give you, finally, small wins create joy along the journey. If you wait to be happy only at the finish line, life will feel like a long grey road. But celebrating each tiny victory brings color to the process. You realize life is not only about the big moments, it is about the thousand small steps that got you there. So, start small today. Write one page, walk for 10 minutes. Drink one glass of water, smile at one stranger. Each act may look tiny alone, but together they build the life you want. One day you will look back and see that the mountain you once feared was climbed through thousands of small, steady steps. Chapter 9. Building Unstoppable Momentum. Momentum is a word people often hear in sports or business, but it matters in everyday life too. Momentum is what makes a train keep rolling, even after the engine slows down, or a winning team keep winning because their confidence is so high. When you build momentum in your own life, everything gets easier. Starting is always the hardest part, but once you start and keep moving, a powerful force begins to carry you forward, almost on its own. Building that unstoppable momentum is the difference between giving up halfway and reaching the finish line at the beginning of any goal. You have to push with all your strength. Think about moving a heavy car that will not start. The first few seconds are brutal. Your muscles burn, your feet dig into the ground, and nothing seems to happen. But then the car slowly begins to roll. Each step makes it easier to push, until you are almost walking beside it as it moves. Life works the same way. When that does not happen, they stop. But momentum needs time to grow. It is like heating water at 50 degrees. Nothing seems to change at 80 degrees. Still, nothing. Only when it reaches 100 degrees does it boil. All the heat before that point was not wasted. It was building toward the moment when everything changes. One secret of momentum is lowering the starting cost. Imagine trying to roll a huge ball. The heavier it feels at the start, the less likely you will even try. That is why you should make starting so easy that skipping feels silly. Want to read more? Tell yourself to read one page tonight. Want to exercise? Promise to do 5 minutes. Most times you will do more once you begin. Does starting breaks? The mental barrier momentum feeds on starting often, even in tiny ways. Success stories often sound like big dramatic events, but behind them are long stretches of steady momentum. A band becomes famous overnight. After years of small concerts, a business explodes after months of unnoticed work. People call them lucky, but really they were building momentum quietly, until one day the results became too big to ignore. That tipping point only comes to those who keep doing long enough for momentum to work. It's magic. Momentum also lives in your emotions. Wins, even small ones, make you feel capable. That feeling pushes you to take the next step, which brings another win, and the cycle grows stronger. On the other hand, failure or inaction makes you feel stuck, which leads to more inaction. That is why getting started quickly after a setback matters so much. The faster you return to action, the less power the failure has over you, and the sooner momentum returns. Another key to momentum is routine. When you do something at the same time, each day, your brain begins to expect it. There is no debate about whether to do it or not. It becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. Automatic actions do not drain willpower, so you save energy for doing the work instead of fighting with yourself about starting. Environment matters too. It is easier to keep momentum when your surroundings support your goals. If you want to eat healthy, keeping junk food out of the house removes friction. If you want to write daily, leaving your notebook on the table as a visual reminder makes starting simple. Each little design choice in your environment either adds speed to your momentum or slows it down. People around you influence momentum more than you realize. Spend time with those who push forward in their own lives, and their energy pulls you along. Spend time with those who quit easily or complain often, and your own momentum fades. Humans copy the behaviors of those near them. That is why workout groups, writing clubs, or business masterminds work so well. They create a shared speed that keeps everyone moving. Momentum loves measurement. When you track progress, how many miles you ran, how many pages you wrote, you see proof that things are moving forward. The numbers tell you the truth when feelings lie. Some days you feel like nothing is changing, but your notebook full of pages or your savings account balance shows otherwise. That proof keeps you moving on. Days when motivation runs low. The early stage of building momentum requires faith, because results hide below the surface. Like planting seeds, you water and wait before anything appears. Many people stop watering too soon and then wonder why nothing grew. Faith in the process keeps you consistent until momentum finally shows its face in visible results. Once momentum grows strong, it starts opening new doors. Opportunities appear because people notice your steady action. A writer posting short stories online gets invited to write a book. A musician uploading songs weekly suddenly gains a big audience. The world responds to momentum because it trusts people who keep showing up. Momentum also creates speed learning. At first, everything feels slow because you are figuring things out, but the more you do, the better you get, and the faster progress comes. A beginner takes an hour to do what an experienced person does in 10 minutes. That experience only comes through repeated action, never through waiting for the perfect plan. Sometimes life throws obstacles that break your momentum. A sickness, a job loss, a family crisis. The mistake is thinking you must return with the same speed as before. Instead, start small again. Take one tiny step to restart the engine. Momentum might rebuild slower this time, but steady steps always win over waiting for perfect conditions. The best part of momentum is how it changes your identity. At first, you are someone trying to write, then you become someone who writes every day. Later you are simply a writer. That shift makes quitting harder because this is now who you are, not just what you do. Identity keeps momentum alive, even when excitement fades. Finally, momentum brings joy. Movement feels good because humans are built for progress. A day where you move forward even a little feels better than a day of doing nothing. That satisfaction grows as your momentum builds, turning hard work into something you actually enjoy. So push through the heavy beginning. Trust the process. When results hide, keep stacking actions until the chain becomes unbreakable. One day you will realize the hard part is long behind you, and momentum is carrying you faster than you ever thought possible. Chapter 10. Breaking the Chains of Comfort. Comfort feels good at first. It is the warm blanket on a cold morning, the easy chair after a long day, the familiar job. You know inside and out, it gives safety, and for a while, safety feels like happiness. But over time, comfort can become a silent prison. It does not lock you in with pain or fear. It locks you in with ease. You stop growing because nothing pushes you to grow life outside. Comfort takes effort. It demands risk. It brings failure. That is why many people stay in the comfort zone far too long. They say tomorrow they will start the diet. Next month they will write the book. Next year they will open the business. But tomorrow never comes. The comfort zone stretches on like soft sand, and before they know it, they have sunk deep. Breaking free starts with seeing comfort. Clearly it pretends to be your friend, telling you to rest, to take it easy, to avoid trouble, but the truth is comfort steals your future slowly. Each day you avoid discomfort. You avoid growth. Muscles grow only when you push them past easy. Minds grow the same way. Small discomfort is the first step. Take a cold shower when you want a warm one. Wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Speak to a stranger. When you feel shy, These tiny acts teach your brain that discomfort is not danger. It is training. Over time, the small discomforts prepare you for bigger challenges. People think courage means feeling no fear. That is wrong. Courage means moving forward, even while afraid. The first time you give a speech, your hands shake. The first time you invest money, your stomach turns. But each time you act, despite fear, you prove to yourself that fear can be managed. Courage grows when you use it, just like strength. The comfort zone tricks you with soft rewards. It offers easy pleasure, like watching endless videos, scrolling through social media, or eating another snack instead of cooking a healthy meal. These things feel nice for a moment, but they leave you empty later. Real rewards like health, skill, success, or confidence come only after effort. Comfort never gives you these rewards because it keeps you from trying to break free. You must learn to delay comfort. This means choosing a little struggle now for bigger happiness. Later, a student who studies instead of playing all evening feels discomfort today, but gains knowledge, good grades, and a better future. An athlete who runs in the rain feels discomfort now, but wins the game later. The problem is comfort shouts loudly while future rewards speak softly. You must learn to listen to the soft voice of the future. Your surroundings matter too. If your friends spend every weekend partying, you will feel odd staying home to build your dream. If your coworkers complain about work but never improve their skills, you will feel strange for taking online courses at night. Humans copy each other more than they admit. That is why people say you become like 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to escape comfort, spend time with people who live with purpose. Another trap is perfectionism. Many people say they are waiting for the perfect time to start the perfect plan, the perfect idea. But perfectionism is just comfort wearing a mask. It lets you feel safe, because as long as you are planning, you are not failing. The truth is you will learn faster by starting messy than by waiting for perfect. Curiosity is a powerful weapon against comfort. Instead of asking what is safe, ask what you can learn. A curious mind moves forward naturally because it wants to see what is around the next corner. Children are curious by nature. They try new things, fall, get up and try again. Adults often lose this because comfort makes them fear mistakes. But mistakes are simply lessons. The more curious you are, the less power comfort has over you. Breaking the chains also means accepting boredom sometimes in a world of constant entertainment. People fear silence, but silence gives space for ideas to grow. When you sit without your phone, your mind feels restless at first. Soon, it starts thinking deeply, connecting ideas, planning, actions. Comfort keeps you busy with noise, so you never face the truth about what you really want. The final step in breaking free from comfort is building discipline like a muscle. Motivation feels exciting at the beginning, but it fades. Discipline carries you when motivation disappears. Think of a farmer. He wakes up before sunrise every day, not because he feels inspired each morning, but because the crops will not wait. Action must happen, whether he feels like it or not. Life works the same way. Success comes when you act, even on the days you do not feel like it. One way to build discipline is through small daily promises to yourself. If you promise to read 10 pages, read them, even if you feel tired. If you promise to exercise for 15 minutes, do it even if the weather is cold. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust in your own word. Soon your brain understands that when you decide something, it will be done, no matter what. This self-trust gives enormous power. Another way is to create systems instead of relying on willpower alone. If you want to eat healthy, fill your home with good food and remove junk food. If you want to save money, set automatic transfers to your savings account. Systems make the right action easier and the wrong action harder. Willpower is like a battery. It runs out. Systems keep working even when you feel weak. You must also learn to rest the right way. Comfort is not the same as real rest. Comfort numbs you with easy pleasure, but leaves you tired later. Real rest renews you a long walk. Deep sleep time and nature, honest talks with friends. These give energy back. Comfort steals energy by keeping you passive. Real rest returns energy by making you alive again. Breaking the chains of comfort changes your identity slowly. When you see yourself as someone who grows through discomfort, you keep growing for life. In the end, the comfort zone is not the enemy. Staying there too long is rest when you need, recover when you must, but do not build your home there. Life's best gifts wait beyond the walls of comfort: strengths, skill, love, adventure, purpose. The chains break one small act at a time. Each act feels tiny, but together they turn into a life of courage and growth. Chapter 11. The Power of Daily Habits. Big goals often feel exciting when we first dream about them. You imagine writing a book, running a marathon, learning a new language, or starting a business at the beginning. Your mind feels full of energy, but soon that excitement fades and the goal begins to feel too big. Many people quit because they think they need huge action every day to reach huge goals. The truth is the opposite. Small actions done daily build bigger results than random bursts of effort. Habits are small things you do without thinking much. Brushing your teeth, tying your shoes, checking your phone. These are habits. They happen because your brain likes shortcuts. Instead of making a decision, each time your brain creates a path that becomes automatic. That is why habits feel easy once they are built. Good habits work like magic because they stack up over time. Reading 10 pages a day does not feel like much, but in 1 year, that is more than 3,000 pages, 10 full books. Walking a mile a day feels small, but in a year, you have walked over 300 miles. The secret is not doing more on one day. It is doing a little every day, without stopping to build a habit. Start small enough that you cannot fail. If you want to start running, begin with 5 minutes, not 5 miles. If you want to meditate, start with 2 minutes, not 20. Success grows confidence. When you succeed daily, your brain enjoys the feeling and wants to repeat it slowly. You can increase the time or effort. Habits also stick better when connected to something you already do. If you want to drink more water, drink a glass after brushing your teeth each morning. If you want to practice gratitude, think of 3 good things before eating dinner. This is called habit stacking. 1 habit triggers another. The environment around you shapes habits silently. If your phone is on the table, you will pick it up without thinking. If fruit is on the table, instead, you will eat it without thinking. Shape your surroundings so the good habit is easy and the bad habit is hard. At first, both struggle, but after 6 months, the second person has a full book draft, while the first still waits for the perfect mood. Habits win because they keep moving forward. Even when motivation sleeps, you can train habits like muscles. The more often you repeat them, the stronger they get. At first, they feel hard because your brain resists change. It loves old routines because they feel safe. That is why starting a new habit feels uncomfortable in the beginning. But if you push through the first few weeks, your brain begins to accept the new path. Soon it becomes the normal thing to do. Rewards help habits stick. When you finish a workout, notice how good your body feels when you save money. Instead of saying, "I am trying to quit smoking," say, "I am not a smoker." Instead of saying, "I am learning to run," say, "I am a runner." When the habit becomes who you are, quitting feels like losing yourself. People fight harder to protect their identity than to reach a goal. Bad habits follow the same rules, but in the opposite direction. They grow stronger each time you repeat them. Breaking them means making the bad habit hard and the good habit easy. If you eat too much junk food, do not keep it in your house. If you scroll on your phone at night, leave it in another room before bed. The real magic of daily habits appears over time. At first, progress feels invisible. Reading 10 pages today does not change your life. Saving $5 this week does not make you rich, but as months and years pass, the results grow like a snowball rolling down a hill. This is called compounding. Just as money grows with interest, habits grow with repetition. A small thing done thousands of times creates huge change. Habits also protect you when life gets hard. Motivation dies quickly during stress, but habits stay alive. A person who always runs in the morning keeps running even after a bad day because it feels natural. A person who writes every night keeps writing even when tired because it feels normal. Habits carry you through storms because they do not ask how you feel, they just happen. Morning routines are a strong place to build habits. Your morning sets the tone for the day. If you start with scrolling your phone in bed, your day begins reactive and rushed. If you start with water, exercise, reading, or quiet thinking, your day begins with control and clarity. That first hour acts like a steering wheel for the next 23 hours. Evening habits matter too. A good sleep schedule keeps your brain and body strong. Going to bed at the same time, keeping the room dark, avoiding screens before sleep, these small habits build big energy for moral success. Needs energy and energy needs rest. Finally, habits create freedom. Many people think discipline and habits limit life because they look strict. The opposite is true. Habits free your mind from endless decisions. When exercise, healthy food, learning, and work times happen automatically, your brain saves energy for creativity and problem solving. Life feels lighter because you are not fighting yourself. Each day, small daily habits turn dreams into reality slowly. But surely they change not just what you do, but who you become. A writer writes, a runner runs, a learner learns. Habits shape identity, and identity shapes destiny. When you control your habits, you control the direction of your life. Chapter 12: Overcoming Procrastination. Procrastination feels like a heavy chain holding people back. You sit down to work, but your mind says, later. Later becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Dreams fade while time keeps moving forward. Almost everyone faces this problem at some point. The worst part is that you often know what to do, but you still do not do it. Why does this happen? The brain loves comfort. Hard tasks bring discomfort, so the brain looks for easy pleasures, like checking messages, watching videos, or scrolling. Social media. These give quick rewards with no effort. Work promises bigger rewards, but asks for energy. Now the brain chooses the easy road because it wants to save energy and avoid pain. Procrastination grows stronger when the task feels too big. Imagine someone tells you to write a whole book today. Your mind freezes because the job looks impossible. The same thing happens with big goals. If you see only the mountain peak, you feel too small to start climbing. Writing 1 page feels possible. Reading 10 pages feels possible. Finishing a tiny step gives the brain a win and energy to keep going. Another reason people procrastinate is perfectionism. They want to start only when they can do it perfectly, but perfect moments never come. The best writers write bad first drafts. The best athletes miss shots. In practice, progress comes from starting messy, learning and improving over time. Waiting for perfect kills action, because perfection lives in fantasy, not reality. The environment also controls procrastination silently. If your desk has snacks, your phone keeps buzzing, and the TV plays nearby, focus dies quickly. Shaping the environment for work matters. A clean table, a quiet room, notifications off the signal, the brain that it is. Time for action. Emotion plays a huge role too. Sometimes fear hides under procrastination. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, even fear of success can freeze action. Often, once you start, momentum carries you forward. The hardest part is starting after the first few minutes. The brain begins to focus because the fear has already been defeated. Many people use the 5-minute rule. They promise themselves to work for only 5 minutes. That sounds so small. The brain cannot refuse once the timer starts. Most continue well beyond 5 minutes because beginning kills resistance. Another powerful tool is habit stacking. Link a new task to an old habit. If you already drink coffee each morning, add 5 minutes of reading after the coffee. The old habit acts like a trigger for the new one. Over time, the brain connects them automatically. Deadlines also help when used wisely. A clear time frame creates healthy pressure without deadlines. The mind says tomorrow with deadlines. The mind knows the clock is ticking. Public deadlines work even better. If you tell a friend you will finish a project by Friday, you feel responsible because someone else is watching. Rewards can beat procrastination too. Promise yourself a treat after finishing a task. A walk, music, a snack. Anything small you enjoy. The brain loves rewards and begins to link work with pleasure instead of pain. Sometimes changing the environment gives fresh energy. Working in the same place every day can feel dull. A library, cafe, or park can make the brain alert. Because the new setting breaks routine laziness. Music without lyrics helps some people focus. It creates a rhythm for work, while blocking outside noise. Others prefer silence or nature sounds. The goal is to design conditions where the brain can dive into deep work without constant distraction. Meaning. If a task feels empty, the brain sees no reason to fight. Discomfort. Connecting tasks to a bigger purpose fuels action. A student who studies only to pass may procrastinate. A student who studies to help his family or build a dream career feels stronger. Drive meaning turns work into mission. Visualization helps here. Close your eyes and see the future result. Holding the finished book, crossing the finish line, giving the presentation, the brain gets a taste of success and wants the real thing. Athletes use this before games, writers use it before books. Seeing the reward makes the work feel worth it. Another key is routine. If you decide when to work every day, the brain stops negotiating. There is no inner debate, because the decision is already made. Morning pages, afternoon practice, evening study, fixed times, turn work into habit instead of choice. Accountability partners push action forward too. 2 friends can agree to report progress each week. The desire to avoid embarrassment or keep promises often beats laziness. Group study sessions, writing clubs, workout buddies all use social pressure for good. Technology can fight procrastination as well. Website blockers stop you from opening. Distracting sites, timers like Pomodoro break work into 25-minute sprints with 5-minute breaks. This makes big projects feel like small, manageable pieces instead of endless marathons. The most important thing is to start before you feel ready. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to push apart. Car action creates motivation, not the other way around. Begin with small steps. Protect focus, use rewards, set deadlines, find meaning, and forgive yourself when you fall. Procrastination may never vanish completely, but it loses power each time you choose action over delay. Each victory builds confidence until work becomes normal and delay feels strange. That is how people break the cycle and finally move toward their goals. Many people think discipline means living without fun or forcing yourself to suffer. But real discipline is not about punishment, it is about freedom. A person without discipline becomes a slave to moods, distractions, and impulses. They say yes to every temptation, and later regret it. A disciplined person chooses goals over impulses. They control their actions instead of being controlled by them. Chapter 13. Building Self-Discipline. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, lifting, even a small weight feels heavy, but with daily practice the same weight becomes easy, and soon you can lift much more. In the same way, small acts of discipline grow into big habits that shape a powerful life. Small daily promises. Build discipline slowly, telling yourself, I will wake up at 7 or I will exercise for 10 minutes. Sounds simple, but keeping these promises teaches the brain to trust you. When you keep small promises, your confidence grows and bigger challenges feel possible. Breaking promises weakens trust in yourself. The environment can help or hurt discipline. If healthy food is easy to reach, you eat better. If junk food fills the table, you eat worse. If your phone keeps buzzing, focus breaks. A disciplined person designs the environment so that good choices become easy and bad choices become hard. Discipline grows through practice, not through big promises made once a year. Many people set goals on New Year's Day and expect life to change overnight. They promise to eat healthy, exercise daily, study hard, save money, and wake up early, all at once. Within weeks, they feel tired and quit because the load is too heavy. Real discipline begins with one small change at a time. Morning routines show the power of discipline. Clearly, people who start the day with intention often carry that energy forward. Simple habits like making the bed, exercising, or planning the day signal the brain that you are in control. The day no longer controls you. You control the day. Discipline also needs systems, not just willpower. Willpower is like a battery. It drains if you use it too much. Systems make good choices automatic, so you do not rely on willpower all the time. For example, laying out workout clothes at night makes morning exercise easier. Keeping study materials ready removes excuses. Systems save energy by reducing decisions. Another secret of discipline is removing temptations. If you keep a phone beside you while studying, discipline becomes harder. The brain likes quick rewards, like messages and social media. Moving the phone to another room creates friction, making it easier to focus. Self-control grows when you design life so that good behavior is the default choice. Imagine a person who wants to start running. If they try to run 5 miles on the first day, their legs will hurt and they will hate running. But if they start with half a mile and slowly add more each week, running becomes part of life. Small victories build confidence and turn effort into habit. Role models inspire discipline. When you see athletes trained daily or writers write every morning, you realize discipline creates excellence. Reading biographies of disciplined people teaches how they built habits, step by step. Their stories show that greatness is not luck, but consistency over time. Discipline does not mean rigidity. Life changes and plans sometimes break. A disciplined person adapts without quitting. If they miss one workout, they return the next day instead of giving up for a month. Flexibility keeps discipline alive because perfection is impossible, but persistence is always possible. Journaling helps too. Writing down goals, struggles, and progress makes discipline visible. A page full of completed tasks brings satisfaction. A page with empty boxes pushes you to do better. Tomorrow the journal becomes a mirror, showing whether you kept promises to yourself. Rewards strengthen discipline when used wisely. After finishing a tough task, a small treat like a walk, a favorite snack, or time with friends tells the brain that hard work brings pleasure. To this positive link makes repeating the task easier next time. True discipline also grows when you connect it to a bigger purpose. People who see discipline only as a chore often quit because they do not feel inspired. But when you connect it to dreams that truly matter, every small effort feels meaningful. A student who studies only to pass exams feels bored, but a student who studies to become a doctor and save lives sees each chapter as a step toward that future. Some people use visualization to stay disciplined. They picture themselves finishing the project, crossing the finish line, or standing on stage giving a speech. The mind tastes success in advance and pushes the body to create that reality. Seeing the reward clearly helps endure the hard steps along the way. Support from others can make discipline easier. Friends who share similar goals can encourage you on tough days. Working with a partner or group adds accountability because quitting feels harder when someone else expects you to show up. This is why study groups work. Workout buddies and mastermind circles work so well. Purpose turns discipline from punishment into passion. Waking up early feels hard if you do not know why you are doing it, but if waking up early means more time for building a business, learning a skill, or writing a book, it becomes exciting. The goal gives energy to the routine. Discipline also becomes stronger when you track progress. Seeing how far you have come gives motivation to keep going. Many people quit because they forget the small victories. Along the way, a runner who logs each mile sees proof of growing strength. A writer who counts words watches a book take shape one page at a time. Progress shows that effort is working even when results feel slow. Sometimes discipline feels boring because progress is slow. This is normal. A plant grows underground before you see leaves above the soil. In the same way, disciplined effort often builds invisible roots before visible results appear. Trust the process. Even when nothing seems to change, growth is happening beneath the surface. Self-talk matters. Too many people destroy discipline with harsh inner voices. When they fail, once they tell themselves, "I am lazy, I will never change," these words kill motivation. A disciplined mind speaks with firmness, but also with kindness. It says, "I slipped today, but I can start fresh tomorrow." Positive self-talk keeps the door open for growth instead of closing it with guilt. Another key to discipline is learning to delay gratification. Modern life offers instant rewards, fast food, endless entertainment, same-day delivery, but big goals often need months or years of steady work. People who master the art of waiting, who can choose long-term rewards over short-term pleasure, achieve things others only dream about. Finally, discipline must be renewed daily. You cannot build it once and forget about it. Each morning asks for fresh choices. Will you follow the plan or give in to comfort? Discipline is not a single decision, but a series of decisions repeated until they become who you are. When discipline becomes part of identity, you no longer fight to stay consistent. You simply say, "I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself." At that point, discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like character, and character lasts a lifetime. Chapter 14. Overcoming Fear and Doubt. Fear and doubt are the biggest chains that hold people back from taking action. Many dreams die not because people lack talent or resources, but because fear whispers, "What if you fail?" Doubt follows with "maybe you are not good enough" together. They build walls inside the mind, long before the real world creates any obstacles. Fear comes in many forms. There is fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, and even fear of success, because success brings new responsibilities. It outgrows when people compare themselves to others and feel small. A writer reads a bestseller and thinks, "I can never write like this." A student sees someone win awards and believes, "I am not smart enough." These voices become louder than any real problem outside. The first step to overcoming fear and doubt is understanding that they are normal. Every person with big dreams feels them. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite fear. Courage is not feeling fearless. Courage is moving forward while your heart beats fast. When you realize fear is part of growth, it loses some of its power. Like a shadow, it looks bigger than it really is, but when you walk toward it, you see it shrink. Speaking in public, starting a business, moving to a new city, all feel terrifying at first. Yet once you step in, the unknown becomes familiar and fear melts away. Another way to weaken fear is through preparation. Doubt often grows from uncertainty. When you prepare well, you remove many unknowns. A student who studies for weeks walks into the exam hall with less fear than someone who studied the night before. Preparation builds confidence because you know you have done your part. Support from others also reduces fear. Talking to friends, mentors, or people who faced similar challenges helps you see that you are not alone. Their stories of failure and success show that mistakes are not the end, but steps toward learning. Hearing how others stumbled and still reach their goals makes your own fear feel smaller. Visualization works here too, when you picture yourself succeeding, crossing the finish line, giving a speech, signing the first client. The brain starts believing it is possible. This belief gives strength to fight fear. Athletes use this technique before big games. They see themselves winning long before the game begins. Small actions break big fears. If public speaking terrifies, you start by speaking in front of a mirror, then to a friend, then a small group. Each step proves to your mind that nothing terrible happened. Over time, the fear loses its sharpness. One powerful way to defeat fear is to separate facts from feelings. Often fear tells stories much bigger than reality. For example, someone may fear starting a YouTube channel because they imagine people laughing at them, leaving hateful comments, or no one watching at all. But the fact might be that most viewers are too busy with their own lives to spend time criticizing strangers online. Once you check the facts, the fear loses. It's dramatic. Another key is to focus on what you can control instead of what you cannot. Fear loves to drag attention toward things outside your control. The economy, other people's opinions, unpredictable events, but energy grows where attention goes. This is a trap. Perfection kills progress because it keeps you stuck in preparation forever. Instead, aim for good enough to start. You can always improve along the way. The first video may not be perfect, but it will teach lessons that no amount of thinking can. Breathing exercises and mindfulness help calm the body when fear grows too loud. Fear is not only in the mind, it shows up as a racing heart, sweaty palms, tight muscles. Slow breathing meditation or even a short walk tells the body it is safe. When the body relaxes, the mind finds it easier to think clearly. Another trick is to use fear as fuel. Many great achievers confess they felt fear before big moments. A singer before stepping on stage, a writer before publishing a book, an athlete before the championship game. All felt nervous, but they turned that energy into focus. Fear releases adrenaline. You can use it to sharpen the tension instead of running away. Facing fear directly also works better than avoiding it. Avoidance makes fear grow, because the mind never learns the truth. If someone fears talking to strangers, avoiding all social events keeps the fear alive. But introducing themselves to one new person at a party teaches the brain, "I survived. It wasn't so bad." Each experience rewires the mind toward courage. Another way to overcome fear is to collect small proofs of your strength. Think about the times in the past when you did something scary and survived. Maybe it was the first time you spoke in class, asked a question in a meeting, or traveled alone at the moment. Those things felt terrifying, but you handled them. Looking back reminds you that fear does not tell the full story. You are stronger than it suggests. Journaling helps here too. Writing down your fears on paper takes them out of the shadows of the mind. When you see the words in front of you, they often look smaller than they felt. This simple act turns anxiety into a problem-solving exercise. Role models give courage as well. When you read about inventors, leaders, or artists, you see how many of them struggled with doubt. Thomas Edison failed hundreds of times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling faced many rejections before Harry Potter became a success. Knowing that even the great ones felt fear makes your own fear feel normal and beatable. Another helpful approach is setting a time limit for fear. If you have a big decision, give yourself a deadline. I will research for 1 week, then decide. Without deadlines, fear drags the decision forever. Deadlines force action before doubt grows too deep. Physical health connects to mental courage as well. Regular exercise, healthy food, and enough sleep make the mind stronger. A tired body creates a tired mind, and fear loves weakness, but a strong body supports a confident spirit. Finally, self-compassion is the secret weapon. People often talk to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. When they make mistakes, they call themselves stupid or hopeless. This harsh inner voice feeds doubt, but talking to yourself kindly, "I made a mistake, but I can learn," builds resilience. Self-compassion turns failures into teachers instead of enemies. When you combine all these strategies, facts over feelings, control over chaos, progress over perfection, direct experience over avoidance, you build a habit of courage. Fear never disappears completely, but it becomes smaller, quieter, easier to manage. Doubt still visits, but it no longer decides your actions. You become the kind of person who feels afraid and acts. Anyway, Chapter 15. Building Momentum for Life. Momentum is like a river. At first, it begins as a small stream, barely moving, but as rain keeps falling, the stream grows stronger, turns into a river, and soon it becomes powerful enough to carve valleys and shape landscapes. In life, momentum works the same way. The single action feels small, but when you repeat actions day after day, they join together to create unstoppable force. People often wonder why some succeed faster than others. The secret is not luck or talent alone. It is momentum. When you keep showing up, keep learning, keep practicing, your actions build on each other. Over time, they grow like compound interest in a bank account. The first step to building momentum is consistency. Even tiny steps repeated regularly beat giant leaps taken rarely. If you want to write a book, writing 200 words every day creates more progress than writing 2,000 words once a month. The daily habit keeps your mind warm, your ideas flowing, your skills sharp. Another part of momentum is focus. Imagine pushing a car stuck in the mud. If you push for 2 seconds, stop, then wait an hour before pushing again, the car will never move. If you push continuously, the car slowly begins to roll, then picks up speed. Life projects work the same way. Stopping and starting kills momentum. Staying focused keeps energy flowing in the same direction, long enough for success to appear. Momentum also grows through quick wins. Each time you succeed at something small, it gives confidence to try something bigger. For example, if you want to start public speaking, begin with 2-minute talks in front of friends. When that feels easy, join a local club, then give a talk at work. Each win creates energy for the next challenge. Many people lose momentum because they chase too many goals at once. They try to learn guitar, start a business, get fit, read 10 books, and travel the world, all in the same month. Their energy spreads thin, so nothing moves forward. Momentum needs focus on fewer things for longer periods. Like sunlight through a magnifying glass, energy becomes powerful when concentrated. Another secret to momentum is measuring progress. When you track workouts, savings, or pages written, you see proof of improvement. This proof keeps motivation alive when results feel slow. Apps, journals, or simple calendars help you mark each day of action. The longer the chain of success grows, the harder it becomes to break it. Finally, momentum loves community. Surrounding yourself with people chasing similar goals multiplies energy. A writer's group keeps you writing, a fitness buddy keeps you exercising. Humans are social creatures. We move faster when others cheer for us, compete with us, or walk beside us. Momentum is like fire at first. It starts with a small spark. If you feed it with dry wood and protect it from the wind, the fire grows stronger. But if you leave it alone without care, it slowly dies out. Life goals work the same way. Energy, attention, and action. Keep your fire alive. Neglect lets it fade away until you feel like starting from zero again. One major challenge people face is the middle zone. Starting something new feels exciting, finishing feels rewarding, but the middle part, when progress is slow and results are invisible, feels boring. This is where most people quit. Momentum breaks when excitement disappears, and all that's left is routine. The solution is to build systems, not rely on feeling. For example, someone training for a marathon might feel motivated in the first week, imagining the medal at the finish line. But when rainy mornings arrive and legs feel heavy, motivation fades. If the runner depends only on the feelings, they will stay in debt. But if they have a system running every day at 7 hours a.m. with a friend, the habit continues. Even on bad days, systems protect momentum when emotions try to stop you. Another danger to momentum is perfectionism. Many people wait until conditions feel perfect before acting. They want the perfect plan, the perfect tools, the perfect timing. But momentum comes from movement, not perfection. A messy start today beats a flawless start someday when you act first. You learn faster, adapt quicker, and improve along the way. Momentum also grows stronger when you mix patience with urgency. This sounds like a paradox, but it isn't. Urgency means you act today instead of waiting. Patience means you don't expect overnight miracles. Imagine planting a seed. Urgency is planting it right now, not next month. Patience is understanding. It takes months to become a tree. Both are necessary for growth. Another secret is energy management. Momentum dies when people burn out. They work non-stop, lose sleep, skip meals, and push too hard until they collapse. Real progress requires rest. Athletes train hard, but also sleep well, eat well, and take recovery days. Life works the same way without balance. Speed turns into exhaustion. Exhaustion kills momentum. Finally, momentum needs purpose. If you chase goals only for money or status, your energy fades when challenges appear. But when your goal connects to deeper meaning, helping others, learning, creating beauty, solving problems, you find strength even on hard days. Purpose fuels action long after excitement disappears. Momentum also grows when you remove unnecessary friction from your life. Friction is anything that slows you down or makes action harder than it needs to be. For example, if you want to exercise in the morning, but you're running, shoes are buried deep in the closet, you will waste time and energy. Just preparing a better system is to keep the shoes near your bed, so that when you wake up, action becomes easy. The less resistance you face, the more likely you are to keep moving. Another source of friction is negative people. If those around you constantly complain, discourage your dreams, or laugh at your efforts, their negativity becomes heavy baggage. Momentum needs a positive environment. This does not mean avoiding all criticism, because constructive feedback helps you grow. But you must protect your energy from constant pessimism. Spend more time with those who inspire action, not those who drain. Motivation. Technology can also help momentum when used wisely. Habit tracking apps, online communities, learning platforms, and productivity tools make it easier to stay on course. But technology can also distract you with endless notifications, games, and social media. The key is to use digital tools as servants, not as masters. Another lesson about momentum comes from nature. Rivers, winds, and seasons never move in straight lines. They flow, bend, and adapt around obstacles. In life you will face setbacks, illness, failure, financial loss, personal struggles. Momentum does not mean never falling. It means learning how to rise again quickly. When you accept obstacles as part of the journey, they lose power to stop you. One powerful way to restart momentum after setbacks is to shrink the goal temporarily. If you stopped exercising for months, don't try to run 5 miles on day 1, walk for 10 minutes. Instead, small wins rebuild confidence and restart the habit without overwhelming you. Slowly the fire grows again. Finally, long-term momentum needs celebration. Many people achieve small victories, but rush past them without feeling grateful. Over time, life becomes only about the next goal, the next task, the next achievement. This creates exhaustion instead of joy. Taking time to notice progress, reward yourself, or simply feel proud, keeps your spirit alive for the long journey ahead. Building momentum for life is not about speed, it is about direction, consistency, and purpose. Like a river carving its path through stone, your actions slowly shape the life you want. Each day of steady effort joins the previous day, creating force too strong to stop with patience, focus, and resilience. Momentum turns small beginnings into lasting success. Welcome back to How to Force Yourself to Take Action. In the last chapter, you learned how powerful action can be. But before we can move forward, we need to understand something important. Why do we resist action in the first place? Why do we delay tasks even when we know they are good for us? In this chapter, we will explore the hidden psychology behind procrastination. When you understand the problem, you can finally break free from it. Imagine this. You have an important task to do. It could change your life if you finish it, but instead of starting, you open your phone, you scroll through videos, you tell yourself you will start in 5 minutes. Hours pass, the day ends, the task stays undone. Why does this happen? Why do our brains fight the very things